Good afternoon, beautiful souls. I can no longer remember what I've shared and what I haven't. So now I'm going to do little orange hearts. They don't really look like art, but to try to remember what I've shared on here. So I read a lot more up here and then I meditated, so I'm kind of off track on this, but I know I liked Israel's unbelief because it just brings the whole thing together. So I'm pretty sure I've shared it, but can't hurt to do it again. Israel's unbelief. What does all this mean? Even though the Gentiles were not trying to follow God's standards, they were made right with God, and it was by faith that this took place. But the people of Israel who tried so hard to get right with God by keeping the law never succeeded. Why not? Because they were trying to get right with God by keeping the law, instead of by trusting in Him. They stumbled over the great rock in their path. God warned them of this in the scriptures when He said, I am placing a stone in Jerusalem that makes them stumble, a rock that makes them fall, but anyone who trusts in Him will never be disgraced. Dear brothers and sisters, the longing of my heart and my prayer to God is for the people of Israel to be saved. I know what enthusiasm they have for God, but it is misdirected zeal, for they don't understand God's way of making people right with Himself. Refusing to accept God's way, they cling to their own way of getting right with God by trying to keep the law. For Christ has already accomplished the purpose for which the law was given. As a result, all who believe in Him are made right with God. Salvation is for everyone. For Moses writes that the law's way of making a person right with God requires obedience to all of its commands. But faith's way of getting right with God says, don't say in your heart, who will go up to heaven to bring Christ down to earth, and don't say, who will go down to the place of the dead to bring Christ back to life again. In fact, it says, the message is very close at hand. It is on your lips and in your heart. And that message is the very message about faith that we preach. If you openly declare that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised Him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is by believing in your heart that you are made right with God. Sorry, there's a lot going on in my house right now, if you can hear it in the background. It is by openly declaring your faith that you are saved. As the scripture tells us, anyone who trusts in Him will never be disgraced. Openly declare your faith. Openly declare your faith. Love you. Bye.